ladies and gentlemen, our speakers and panelists bring a great deal of expertise acquired through scholarship, public service, and business. And this experience equips them to share their immense knowledge and offer great insight. However, we here at the forum believe that the one field that does not get enough attention it deserves, especially in Washington and the think tank world, is the humanitarian work that happens in a region that is conflict-ridden. Today we have two guests with us whose work in that field deserves special attention. The forum decided to launch its annual conference award to recognize and honor individuals who have had a positive impact on the lives of ordinary people in the Gulf region. All of us in this room share a deep concern for the well-being of the innocent people trapped in these war zones or afflicted by extreme poverty. We have heard a lot today about the massive human tragedy caused by years of war in Yemen and Iraq. In Yemen alone, the UN estimates that 12.3 million children suffer from seemingly endless war. 12.3 million. Roughly 2 million suffer from severe malnutrition. This does not count the estimated 6,700 children killed due to the conflict and the 2,700 recruited as child soldiers. One recent UN estimate predicts Yemen will have achieved the distinction of becoming the poorest country in the world per capita by 2020. Can you believe that? In Iraq, the situation is no less concerning. The UN also estimates that 3.3 million Iraqi children desperately need humanitarian assistance. Among them are 800,000 categorized as internally displaced persons. The sheer immensity of these tragically staggering numbers discourages action and breeds a sense of helplessness in doing anything about it. We agree that finding geopolitical, diplomatic, and economic solutions remain crucial. But we here at the forum believe that such statistics demand that we elevate issues of humanitarianism and human rights to an equal footing within our analysis. Therefore, it is our honor to introduce two selfless, outstanding individuals who have devoted their lives and careers to alleviate the suffering of victims of war and poverty. Given what they have sacrificed and accomplished, anything I have to say in this short time to introduce them would be really inadequate for the efforts that they have done in the region. However, let me take a brief moment to tell you why we believe Ms. Maali Alasousi and Mr. Hisham al-Dhahabi undoubtedly earned this recognition. In 2007, Maali uprooted her comfortable life in Kuwait and moved to Yemen to bring new initiatives and programs to the people of this impoverished nation. Already, as I mentioned, Yemen is suffering from a lot of economic challenges, and I think we're all aware of that. And the most recent outbreak of war has even exacerbated this to even a worse situation. In addition to the terrible numbers about children living with starvation and malnutrition, humanitarian organizations have reported over 1.6 million cases of suspected cholera outbreaks. By choosing to live among the Yemeni people, Alasousi gained a first-hand perspective of the needs and conditions of their suffering. Empowered by what she learned, Maali launched roughly 30 unique relief campaigns that have impacted the lives of over 700,000 Yemenis. Her work has offered 700 scholarships for Yemeni youth, over 30 water source projects to provide safe drinking water for nearly 100,000 people and 60 health campaigns. One of her projects, a clinic, it provided blindness correction surgery to over 7,000 Yemenis. To cite one among the many thousands who have benefited from Maali's work, Muhammad, an older Yemeni man from Hodeidah, slowly was going blind in his eyes due to cataract. Muhammad, which is actually an easy issue to fix here, but Muhammad had to resort to begging in the streets to try to support his family. Thanks to the health programs started by Maali, Muhammad received the simple procedure needed to restore his sight, a story that Muhammad gratefully summarizes as, "I used to beg for my family, and now with my sight back, I work for my family." So, thank you. This is for Maali, of course. Words do not adequately describe Maali's altruistic work and its impact on the Yemeni community. Let's watch a short video clip about her work, and then I will announce her award after that.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you all. It's my really pleasure and honor to receive this award. And with every award, there's responsibility. My story as a human is very simple. I grew up in a very loving family, and I was very naughty and smart kid. So when my mom wants to curse someone, she will say, "Inshallah, God will give you a kid like Maali." Alhamdulillah. And this is like my really family suffer because I was really active kid, and life goes on until 1990 when the invasion occurred in Kuwait. I wanted to do something, but at that age I was only a teenage who never saw a gun or a tank by my own eye. And it's not only changing life only for Maali, but also the Kuwait, the Gulf, and the MENA region. I wanted to do something, so I volunteered and entered with the coalition of the Desert Storm Troop to help and volunteer in Kuwait after the liberation. I saw that what happened in Kuwait, and I wasn't at that time in Kuwait, so I entered with the troop at that time, and I saw all this massive destroy that happened in Kuwait, 700 wells. You can't see the sun for 7 months or 8 months after the invasion. Dead bodies everywhere, sick people. My school is vanished. A lot of destroy that occur in Kuwait. So I promised that I will volunteer and keep volunteering and helping others from that time until the end of days. Then I continue my study and volunteer, keep volunteering. Then when I moved to the US to study, also I volunteered here in the US. And when I went back to Kuwait, I pursued my career and established a company. In 2007, a multimillionaire person came to me to give a consultation in Yemen. So I went to Yemen as a business project, not as a volunteer. So it was in the summer, so I wanted to say no to him, but I don't want to lose him as a volunteer, as a client for my startup company. So I proposed a crazy number so he can say no. And I said to myself, if he's crazy, he will say no. So unfortunately, he said yes. I have to go to Yemen to a hect. I was trapped. So I have to go to do this consultation. And I did not know exactly what was the project. Then when I took the first chapter of the project, what exactly they want me to consult, It was about helping women and children to have a better life by microfinance. So I loved the project, and I actually went physically with my consultant and with the team, and we went to several governorates with all the drama that I saw in Yemen, women selling their bodies to feed their kids. Girls cannot go to school because they don't have $30 for fees to go to transportation or to pay for the books. People lose their eyesight because of $100, and sometimes we go to restaurants and we pay $100 and more. So with all this, that wasn't my project was about giving only consultation, not actually a humanitarian work. But I love the idea because the civil society will benefit from the project. I went back to Kuwait, and I gave them the answer that this project will not be able to implement in Yemen because you have to invest a lot of money to train them so they can be independent, economically independent. When I closed the project and start to pack everything and put it all on the shelf like every other project, a voice inside of me said that you have education, you have money, you have time, you have knowledge and all this, and you just shut the door and give them your back. There is like a voice inside of me that grew every day. I couldn't concentrate in my life after I came back from Yemen, after I closed the project. So what happened, I said, what about if I volunteer and help only few girls in education? Alhamdulillah, I started to help 40 girls in education, and by last month, the people who benefited exceeded 1 million civil person in Yemen. How I did it? Well, when I moved physically from Kuwait to Yemen, of course my family was the first people who actually was against me to move physically to Yemen, especially I wasn't married and single to move in a country that is very complex. It wasn't safe for me. So I didn't tell them that I'm moving, so I rented an apartment and an office, and I hired employee and all that without my family knowing. And I start to go back and forth until I have to concentrate either in my business and my government work in Kuwait, or I have to give everything and move physically to Yemen. So I took the decision. At that time, it took me like about a couple of years to make the decision that I physically want to move to Yemen and be there. So my mom, as every Khaliji, GCC country woman, she wants her daughter to get married to a rich man or a regular man and have kids so they can have fun. All of my daughter has a kids and that. So like every other mother, and I think even the Western, they have the same knowledge and the same idea, but not as us as a MENA region country. So since I went like back and forth and I started to stay there for 2 to 3 months without going back to Kuwait, so my mom called me one time and asked me this very, I'll say, questions like, Mom, if you are in love with Yemeni, we don't mind. Just bring him. And I said, Mom, I'm not in love with a Yemeni man. So she said, then what are you doing there? I cannot explain exactly what I'm doing there because it's a feeling inside of me. And I think everybody participate in volunteer and giving and helping others understand that this kind of feeling and happiness that goes inside your heart through volunteer, you cannot actually explain it or write it in words. So the other time she called me, she said, well, Mom, if you ate something from someone and you get like black magic, she thinks that I am actually under the sedation of black magic. And I said, well, Mom, well, I'm conscious about my decision and all that. So To make the story short, my family wants me to go back to Kuwait. So they cut fund. They don't stop funding my projects. So I start to seek other funders. I did not stop. So it's the smart idea. What I did is I brainwashed my family by inviting them to Yemen to participate with me in the volunteer campaigns. And they love it, and they gave me the green light. Then, the other good thing that I got married to someone who actually I brainwashed him totally. And I moved him with me to Yemen, and he quit his work also in Kuwait. That's 2010. So the women have the power of brainwashing others in this world. So I continue my work and started to have a lot of constraints in Yemen, especially I'm a woman and moving from tribal heads. Then the civil society, civil war occur. Then the international war occur, and I did not quit my job and continue. And I love every single moment that I'm doing, what I'm doing in Yemen. Three things that actually I learned from my work. It doesn't take you a lot to make a difference. You can help from your society, your neighbors. It's just sometimes, it's a lot of times, it's not about money, it's about time and devotion. This is what I learned from humanitarian work. Also, humanitarian work has no religion, gender, color, race. You help a human because you are a human and you wanted to do that. Plus, if you want to be a really happy person, contribute to the society and volunteer. And this is where happiness, real happiness comes from. This is where you can reach the ultimate happiness. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank also the International Gulf Forum. And also I want to thank my country, Kuwait, that gave me all the opportunity to be a global citizen and to make a difference in this world. Finally, I would like to thank all the Yemeni that stood with me for 12 years to carry this mission. And to be their voices, and to tell the whole world that people in Yemen are really suffering. And this war has to stop. They deserve to live as a human. Thank you all.